The Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya situation at Arsenal continues to rumble on. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. It wouldn't be the international break, in my opinion, without a player or someone close to that particular player coming out in an interview and speaking out about the club or about a particular or important member of that club. And that is exactly what we've got on our hands in this story. The story is obviously revolving around the Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya goalkeeping situation at Arsenal, in which we've all had our say, we've all heard what everybody else has to say, particular pundits and former players and people close to the club a little bit have had their say. But now has come the say of Aaron Ramsdale's father, who has stated that he has seen his son lose his smile over this situation, in which David Raya has come in over the summer and has seemingly become the main man and has taken that number one spot as the main goalkeeper at Arsenal Football Club in Mikel Arteta's eyes. And it's led Aaron Ramsdale's father to call out Arteta about the situation and about his handling of that situation. We're going to be talking about this story that's unfolding. We're going to be talking more about the obviously Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya situation. We're going to be talking about how maybe Aaron Ramsdale has kind of shot himself in the foot a little bit when it comes to this situation as well as obviously throwing in a bit of Gareth Southgate hypocrisy within this story and everything else in between. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. And of course, for you lot to get involved in the comment section, I'm sure you have a lot of interesting thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That'll make for great and interesting reading on this particular topic. So do get involved down below on that one. But without further ado, let's get on with the story. Let's talk this Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya situation that has now got Aaron Ramsdale's father involved with things that he has said. I've never seen a transfer quite like this. When it happened in the summer, when David Raya first came in the summer, I said that I don't really see much of a difference between Raya and Ramsdale. I still don't really. I still think they're very good goalkeepers. I still think they may be different in the way that they are more accurate with their short passing or long passing. I think that Raya may just be the better goalkeeper, only just, but I still think they're very good shot stoppers, which is obviously the main and primary objective of a goalkeeper, if you like. But it's, I guess, a case of preference. I guess it's also a case of preference in terms of how you want to set up. Do you want to go a bit more long ball from your goalkeeper? Do you want to go a bit more passing out from the back with your goalkeeper? I guess it's just a bit of preference, really, because they're both adequate goalkeepers. But I've never quite seen a transfer like this in which has been heavily criticised. And I think mainly it's because Ramsdale is English. I think there is a bit of English bias to this, and there always has been. Some pundits like the idea of you having a challenging goalkeeper in this aspect of David Raya, who of course was the number one goalkeeper at Brentford before joining the Gunners. Others think it's quite disruptive on the goalkeeper that was here originally, in of course Aaron Ramsdale, who was a big part in Arsenal's season last season that of course saw them in a title challenge. Obviously, how this situation's panned out is that Raya's come in and he was bedded in slowly but surely, but eventually he's come in and has become the number one guy. He's been there for some of the big matches in Arsenal's season so far. Ramsdale has found himself a lot on the bench. And the story's kind of gone on for a little bit, and more people are having their say on the situation. But now it's kind of all blown up because there's been a resurfaced clip from Aaron Ramsdale himself, which may, like I say at the top of the video, may have shot himself in the foot a little bit when it comes to this situation and why Mikel Arteta went in the market to try and sign another goalkeeper. And there's also the stuff that is coming out that his dad has been saying as well. He went on an interview on a podcast and also put his 2 cents in about his own son, which I don't think would do him any favours. There's also a bit of Gareth Southgate hypocrisy in this as well. The issue being that allegedly Southgate has turned around and said to Aaron Ramsdale that he can't be guaranteed a place on the plane to the European Championships at the end of the season in Germany for Euro 2024 because if he's not playing regularly, that could be an issue. You know, the same Gareth Southgate that is constantly playing the likes of Calvin Phillips and Harry Maguire, despite the fact that they weren't getting minutes at the time. Calvin Phillips still isn't. Maguire is because of injuries at Manchester United. But he still picks them, so why should Aaron Ramsdale be any different, right? It's baffling and strange to me. That is one rule for one rule for the other. But this isn't really a story about Gareth Southgate. This is, of course, about Aaron Ramsdale and his father. And basically, his father in an interview has been, to be fair to him, he hasn't completely called out the situation in regards to the goalkeeper. He's admitted that it's not David Raya's fault, and as Arsenal fans and everything, they should get behind and support their fellow teammate and fellow, obviously, goalkeeping compatriot, I guess you could say. Hasn't called out David Raya, just said that this is an unfortunate situation and David Raya is obviously in the wrong place at the wrong time kind of thing. Said that they should support David Raya regardless, and Ramsdale is doing that. But he basically, the main line that everybody's running with is that his son has lost his smile. He then went on to seemingly reveal that it's been communicated to Ramsdale that he's going to be the cup goalkeeper and Raya is going to be the main man. Well, since obviously being knocked out of the Carabao Cup, it seems that we won't be probably seeing Ramsdale until, of course, the FA Cup, or maybe there will be a couple of Champions League games that might be a dead rubber between now and then. So maybe he'll be part of the dead rubber Champions League games should Arsenal qualify convincingly. But other than that, it seems we won't be seeing Ramsdale until at least the FA Cup in an Arsenal shirt. He then made reference to the Bert Leno situation, which is very much carbon copy of what's going on right now. He basically said that when Ramsdale first came in, Bert Leno was in the same boat as what Ramsdale is finding himself in right now. He too was phased out, of course. He was brought in as the number one. Arteta comes in, changes the goalkeeping situation, brings in Ramsdale. And if we remember at the time, that was seen as laughable because they also had Emi Martinez as well, if you remember. And Emi Martinez, of course, wasn't rated by Mikel Arteta enough to be kept. He was then sold for, I believe, somewhere in the region of 20-25 million. And then they brought in Aaron Ramsdale for somewhere between 30-35 million. And Aaron Ramsdale, who had just been relegated with Sheffield United and Bournemouth, I believe. One of the two, or maybe even both. So Ramsdale has exceeded all expectations, in my opinion. He's been brilliant for Arsenal. He's been a brilliant signing in terms of helping them elevate their level and re-elevate their status again within the game. And within the Premier League, of course. He's done better than what anybody was expecting. But of course, time moves on. Football can be brutal at times, and this is just another example of football being brutal. In the fact that there's always going to be someone in any kind of competitive sport to take your place. And that is exactly what David Raya has found himself in doing, whether willingly or not, at Arsenal in Mikel Arteta's eyes. Like I say, it's just the way that it is. And like I say, there has been a fair amount of criticism to it, and I think part of that is down to English bias. I think there has been some that say that that they don't mind Mikel Arteta's ruthless approach to the goalkeeping situation. I mean, it's not as if we're comparing Alisson Becker, the best goalkeeper in the world, to Aaron Ramsdale. In that situation, I firmly believe there is no contest who is better. I firmly believe that Ramsdale and Raya, two goalkeepers, slightly different, but two very adequate goalkeepers who, like I say, depending on your approach to the game, you can pick one or you can pick the other, depending on which way you want to set up. If Ramsdale is to leave because of this, if he is to seek first-team football elsewhere, it's not like he's going to go down to like an Everton level or a Nottingham Forest level or anything along those lines. he will go to a club that is challenging for Europa League / Champions League spots. He could go to like a Brighton, for example. You know, maybe Brentford. Maybe he could go somewhere like there. Maybe he could go somewhere in that kind of role. I've never kind of seen him as a title-winning goalkeeper, but I've never. During his Arsenal time, I've obviously been proven wrong about what I've said about him before in terms of I don't understand why Arsenal would go for this kind of goalkeeper. I didn't think he was that good in my opinion, but of course, like I said earlier in this video, he's proven me and a lot of other people wrong. Now, in terms of going back to what his father said about him, look, his father has every right to speak out and defend his son. I'm not going to criticise that. But a few weeks ago, we did mock Harry Maguire's, I think it was his mother? Harry Maguire's mum for coming out and trying to defend his son. So we should obviously, we should obviously have the same sort of energy and same sort of response to, of course, this happening in this situation. He has every right to come out and defend his son, speak his opinion, speak his mind, whatever the case may be. Not doubting that whatsoever. But when we have seen Ramsdale do the situation, again, not willingly, but he's done the situation to Bernd Leno in the past, which his father actually makes reference to, there was no way that he was losing his smile then because a fellow goalkeeper and a fellow teammate of his was also probably losing theirs as well as their first team spot to him. So there is a bit of hypocrisy there. I also think that this could potentially do more damage to Ramsdale going forward because, you know, you got your dad he may not have been aware of his dad's intentions to speak out, but at the same time, it's not necessarily a great look that you're getting your dad to fight your battles for you, or any member of your family or anybody that you're close with to come out and fight your battles for you. That was kind of what was said about Harry Maguire as well, when of course he was facing some tough times, particularly on England duty several weeks ago. I just think that it could do more damage than good, and it will be heavily scrutinised. Another part of this story is the Aaron Ramsdale comments and the clip that has resurfaced of him talking about his concentration levels and a big part of his weakness if you were to ask him about being a goalkeeper. This is what he said to Ian Wright. Apparently the clip was about 6 months ago. It didn't really gain a lot of traction then, I don't think, but it has started to now with this whole situation blowing up before our very eyes. He's speaking to Ian Wright in a podcast / interview, and he basically said, if you ask me to concentrate on a match for 90 minutes, I'm finished. I can't do it. So that's why I get involved with the fans and I'll sing along with the songs. If someone's giving me abuse, I'll turn around and give them it a bit back. I've had my 2 or 3 minutes of madness in my head, straight back to the football. I've got 10 or 15 minutes of pure concentration again. Next thing you know, half time comes around. Now, admittedly, and I will give him some leeway here, concentrating on something for 90 minutes, I don't think a lot of us can do. I certainly can't. My head is all over the place. I sometimes even start sentences and I don't know where the hell they're going, and that's why sometimes I lose track of what I'm talking about. Other people do the same thing, but I think in competitive sport, you need to have more of a concentration level because that's what separates the best of the best. That's why Alisson Becker is one of the best, because I've seen Liverpool dominate games for 85 of the 90 minutes that they've played. And then for those 5 minutes, a team will break away, a team will enter a counter-attack, and he will be on hand to thwart that counter-attack in the end after doing nothing for a large part of the game. That's what separates the best of the best. I do have sympathy for him, like I say. I don't think a lot of us could probably focus on something for longer terms than 90 minutes. But in terms of being a goalkeeper, That is a massive part of their game. And like I say, for a goalkeeper like Alisson Becker to be able to do that in moments, in split-second moments like that, in order to switch on when you haven't really been doing anything and your gloves have been a bit cold for however long the game may have gone on for at that time, it is majorly important. Ramsdale coming out and saying that, and obviously this was like several months ago apparently, and obviously the clip has resurfaced since. It's not a good look. It's not a good look on him. It's not a good look when you look back on this entire situation. Of course, on social media, he's already being mocked by it, which is, you know, just the way that social media and football fans are. Whenever you say something like this, don't give football fans more ammo to fire at you. When you're saying things like this, he's shot himself in the foot, in my opinion, and that's probably why Mikel Arteta has gone out and got himself a goalkeeper who, in his eyes, he may see as more of an upgrade. That's probably why this situation has unfolded before our very eyes. You've given him and football fans more ammo to use against you. I have very little sympathy if you're going to shoot yourself in the foot like this. I have little sympathy for the situation because I understand that football and competitive sport can be majorly cutthroat and ruthless at times, as this situation is proving. But if you're going to go out there and point out your major flaw, and a big flaw at that, a flaw that every goalkeeper needs to have within his arsenal, within his locker, I have little sympathy. I have little sympathy for that situation. Like I say, the whole situation is bizarre, and I think it's only going to end one way, and that is with Ramsdale leaving at the end of the season. I think he'll stay to the end of the campaign, and then I think he's got a look for first team football, because I don't think this situation is going to get any bigger or better. I don't necessarily now agree with Arteta's stance on maybe him swapping goalkeepers during games. Don't necessarily see him also giving a 50-50 playing schedule to both goalkeepers throughout the season. I don't think it can work. I think the balance of the team, and I think the confidence in the team will be altered because of that. I think that the unity in that team will be altered because of that. You need a consistent back five, in my opinion, in order for a solid and strong defence to work. I know Arsenal have one of the better defences of the league so far this season. I think they have the best, joint best with Liverpool, I believe. So I understand that, but at the same time, this situation is only going to get more, maybe not necessarily toxic, but it's only going to be more under the microscope going forward. And I think this only ends with Ramsdale leaving, which obviously seems to be the case going forward, and probably will be the case going forward, with Raya, like I say, seemingly being the number one guy going forward. Whether that happens or not, of course, remains to be seen. But like I say, I'm not a massive fan of what his father has said. I'm not a massive fan with what Ramsdale has said about himself either. I think both of them have kind of hindered and hurt Ramsdale. I think Ramsdale shot himself in the foot. I think his father's not really helped his case, despite having every right to come out and defend and say what he wants to say. Southgate's hypocrisy stinks a little bit. And that kind of wraps up my thoughts on this video. Those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this whole Aaron Ramsdale, David Raya situation that has reared its head once again during this international break? I'd love to know your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it on this particular topic down below in the comment section, because I'm sure they'll make for interesting and great reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way if you enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always and very greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.